How often do you sort of find yourself lying in bed, trying to fall asleep, and your mind will not stop racing, and you're worrying about all the things that could possibly go wrong tomorrow? You know, you start creating scenarios in your head about what would happen if you didn't do this, or if you don't do that. And by the time you know it, you feel like the whole world is gonna fall apart. Oh, it's a nightmare. Well, I've certainly been there, and it feels like shit. I mean, I've literally had panic attacks from overthinking like this. And it's stupid, but as humans, that's just what a lot of us do. It's almost like we're hardwired to overthink shit. But over the last year or so, I've just kind of worked out from my own personal experiences that in the majority of cases, I can actually just let go of that task that I so desperately need to do. Yeah, by this I literally mean I just completely bin off the task and don't complete it at all. And in every single one of these occasions, I can honestly say that nothing drastic has happened from me not completing a task. I mean, at the end of the day, what is even considered drastic? Nothing. Maybe you lose your job? Never mind. Does it really matter? No. It doesn't. You can just get another one, or you can start up your own business. I mean, that's what happened to me, and I'm still alive. I think the only thing that you can really consider drastic is if the non-completion of a task directly leads to the death or injury of somebody that you love. And I'm willing to guarantee that most situations do not fall into this category. But if they do, then I'd say that that task is actually important, and it is something that you should purposefully focus on, because it would fall into the 20% category of the 80-20 rule. And if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, then great, because I'm going to be spending the remainder of this video talking about what the 80-20 rule is, as it is something that I personally use in my everyday life. And I'm guessing that most of the people watching this don't have a clue what it is, as suggested by the lack of responses by a recent Instagram stories post that I made about the subject. Either that, or everyone just ignored me. Yeah, that probably sounds a bit more like it, to be fair. Either way, I'm going to be talking about it, so get your seatbelt on. So, the 80-20 rule, which is also known as the Pareto Principle, specifies that 80% of output or results from a given situation is determined by 20% of input or activities. In other words, 80% of consequences come from 20% of causes. And some other examples to kind of help you understand that could be 20% of customers giving a company 80% of its profits, or 20% of the members completing 80% of the group task, or 20% of the population owning 80% of the world's money, or 20% of your wardrobe is worn 80% of the time. I'll put some more examples up on the screen, so feel free to pause the video and read those if you want. Basically, this principle can be applied in pretty much any situation. And that's why I've titled this video something along the lines of why you really need to focus on what matters, or something like that. Because the chances are only 20% of the things that you're actually worried about actually matter. And to live your life with less worry, you should focus on that 20%, i.e. what really matters to achieve 80% of the results. Of course, the numbers aren't exactly accurate, and it's not a universal law, because you might get some situations where 75% of output is determined by 25% of input, or 90% of output is determined by 10% of input, which is why I just kind of find it simpler to call it the Pareto Principle as opposed to the 80-20 rule. Either way, it doesn't really matter, because the principle just remains the same, and that is that the minority of inputs results in the majority of outputs. And that is why you should just really think about whether what you're focusing on really matters, because by far time is the most important currency, right? And most of us don't use that time efficiently, because our culture tends to reward being busy instead of being productive. We're brought up to believe that working more hours will get us more results. And I believe that's a really outdated way of living, because it isn't about the time you put in, it's about how well you can spend that time. And I believe that despite working fewer hours in the office, it is truly possible to achieve more meaningful results if you apply this principle. That's something I know, because as I said, I use this principle pretty much every day, and I actually feel like I achieve more by doing less. So yeah, there you are. I will just say though that the goal isn't to minimize the amount of effort, but instead to focus your effort on a specific portion of work to create even bigger impacts. You still have to put 100% of efforts into that 20% of focus to achieve 80% of results. I hope you've taken something from this, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!